What is going on, Slay Baes? It's Ashley and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be all about the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe collaboration, which I'm pretty excited about. We're going to talk about the Volume 2 eyeshadow palette. Right here we have Jaclyn herself. When I saw that this was launching, I knew immediately I was going to pick it up because I love Volume 1 so much. I felt like Volume 2 would be no exception. So I picked up one for me and I also picked up one for you. Make sure you stay tuned towards the very end of the video because I'm going to be doing a little mini giveaway. But all in all, I'm really excited about this color story. I feel like it's super sick. You have your purples, your pinks, your siennas, your warm tone shades, and your really pretty neutrals. So I feel like this could very well be a universally flattering palette for so many different skin tones. But let me not get ahead of myself. Y'all know how these palettes tend to go. It can go really good or it can go really bad. Honestly, I feel like you never know what you're gonna get whenever it comes to her product. So I'm gonna put it to the test. I'm gonna give you guys my first initial thoughts, my first impressions, and if in fact I feel like this palette is worth the hype. So if you're into it, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. Also, while you're at it, click that bell. I mean, you come this far, you might as well turn on those notifications just so that way YouTube will notify you whenever I upload, which is every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With that, I'm gonna zoom in super up close and personal. I mean really personal, so you can see all my blending and if in fact I feel like this palette is worth the hype. So let's actually get right into it. So to start, I've already primed my eyelids with a little bit of my MAC Soft Ochre paint pot. You guys know how I feel about this. I love it so much. I also love the one from Make Revolution in the shade Core. So either one will do. I highly encourage that you guys use an eyeshadow primer that's formulated for eyeshadow application as opposed to using concealer. Whenever I would use concealer, I felt like my eyeshadow would get super patchy if I didn't set it down properly. With an eyeshadow primer, you're not gonna have that problem whatsoever. It's really gonna change the game for you. It's gonna blend like a dream. Trust me. Trust me. Anyways, let's jump into the eyeshadow palette. The first shade I'm going to take is a shade right here called Perfectionist. And I'm going to take it on an M441 by Morphe. And I'm going to rock that back and forth in my crease as my transitional color. So for this look today, I definitely want to play around with some of the colors, but I also want to create more of a wearable eye look, if that makes any sense. I feel like a lot of the looks I have been seeing with this palette have been with like the purples and the pinks and things like that. And I mean, for me personally, that's just not practical for day to day. So I definitely want to create a look that is a little bit more toned down and a little bit more wearable. I will say so far that shadow is blending beautifully into the crease. I'm not having any issues whatsoever. I'm not really getting any patchiness, any tugging. It really is just blending very nicely in the crease. I do also want to note that I didn't set my crease down with any other shade. I'm really just going in with the shade Perfectionist straight from the pan onto the brush, onto my lid without adding any additional color. So that is really nice. So the next shade I'm going to take from within the palette is this shade right here. It's called Certified, and I'm actually going to use this as my brow bone highlight. So I'm going to take it closest to my brow and really pack this on and blend it down into the shade called Perfectionist. That is a really pretty shade. It's almost a white. Well, it is white. It's kind of like a bone colored white. On certain skin tones, I can definitely see how it could be a little bit more stark white, but for me, it's kind of like a very natural brow bone highlight. I'm going back in with that M441 that I used for the shade Perfectionist, and I'm just using this to help me blend overall. That is so pretty. Ooh. Now I'm gonna go into this shade right here. It's called Next. I'm gonna take that on an M433, and I'm actually going to press this like in my outer V to add a little bit more drama, a little bit more definition. I'm just really taking it and stamping it. And the reason I like to stamp is to really just build up that pigmentation and I'm just flicking it inwards. That is such a beautiful shade. It's like a red, like a burgundy. All right, so one thing I will say about this shade is that it is just as pigmented as it is on the pan on the lid, which I really like. I'm not experiencing any issues with it getting patchy whatsoever. I'm also trying to keep this directly underneath the shade called Perfectionist. So I don't want to drag it up too far just because I feel like that will really like mess up my blending. So I'm really just taking it in my crease, and then I'm using all the pigment on my brush before I actually take it in the crease, because I want as little of that pigment called next in the crease. Like I want it to be very, very subtle, just like that. Ooh, that is cute. Then I'm gonna go back into that M441 with a little bit of Perfectionist, and I'm just gonna go in small circular motions just to help out with the blending. The next shade I'm gonna pick up is right under next. It's called Crazy. And I'm taking it on an M4 or M507. This is an M507, and I'm actually gonna use this right here, like in the outer V. I'm really trying to deepen up this shade or this shade. I'm trying to deepen up this area, and I'm obsessed with this shade right here. It looks so beautiful in the pan. It's honestly just been calling my name since I opened it up. I haven't created like such a burgundy, like smoked out eye in a while, so I'm gonna try to go like all out, try to go ham a little bit. So far, this is building up very, very nicely. And I'm just going in small circular motions to start. And then once majority of the product has left my brush, I'm just gonna kind of flick my brush. And again, I'm keeping the shade pretty low in my crease. I'm not taking it too far up just because I don't want this to get crazy, crazy dramatic. Like I want drama, but I don't want that much drama, you know?
Gather around. I'm not actually a new employee.
You can say that again, you a waste of space as far as I'm concerned. Can't get nothing done in time. Like a snail over here.
I am actually president of the company. You're on Undercover Boss. TV show. Yeah. What?
Really, really pretty. I'm gonna go back into that brush that I used to apply the shade called Next. I'm gonna pick up just a little bit of Crazy, and I'm just gonna kind of go in small circular motions right out here. Just kind of rock my brush back and forth, especially in the socket, because I do want to blend it out just like a hair, just a little bit. The next shade I really want to go into is this one right here called Positivity. It's a really beautiful kind of like peachy shade. I kind of want to add it to this look some way, somehow. So I'm going to actually take Positivity, like that really pretty peach, and I'm just going to kind of blend it like in this inner part of my eye, just to kind of add a little bit more like peach to this look. Like I want to create like a peachy burgundy eye with like a hint of purple, nothing crazy. And I'm also gonna take Positivity like right above that burgundy, because why not? You know, might as well have some fun with some color. I'm also gonna add like some neutral shimmers to this look because I want it to be more of a wearable look. I don't want it to be too crazy to the point where those of you at home are like, I can't really pull that off, if you get me. So I'm all about like making things a little bit more wearable, even though I know that this is very dramatic and very different than like a soft smoky eye, you know? Before I go in with my next shade, I just want to take kind of like a clean brush. It's not really clean. It has a little bit of, I want to say the shade Next on it, but I'm going to take it and I'm just going to run it on my lid just because I do want this to be a little bit more seamless before I go in with my lid shade. Honestly, does it matter? Probably not, but that's just me. That's where I'm at. I really like just clean edges before I go in with my next shade because I feel like it really helps out. I'm gonna pick up some of Perfectionist, and I'm gonna use this to help me blend on the lid. Again, my lid shade's probably gonna cover this up, but I'm just taking some extra steps to ensure that everything looks very seamless. So to really neutralize this look, I definitely wanna go in with like a neutral tone lid shade. So instead of going in with something like Talia or Flawed and Odd, I feel like these are very, very bold and out there. I wanna go in with something a little bit more subtle. So I'm gonna take this shade right here called Get Ready With Me. It is so beautiful. Like, ugh, the perfect bronze. And I'm going to press this onto my eyelid. Oh my gosh. That is gorgeous. Instead of using my finger, I do want to apply this in more of a precise way. So I'm just gonna take a flat, dry brush. I don't want this to be super, super foiled. I'm not doing a cut crease or anything. Wow. Wow. That shimmer is beautiful on the lid. My God, I love that. It has like specks of glitter to it. So it looks really, really pretty. Oh, that is so cute. Okay, so the glitter is kind of getting everywhere. I'm not mad at it at all, but I do want you guys to know that it's kind of just like, but again, it's all right. Taking my finger and I'm patting on a little bit more of that shimmer. Again, specks of glitter, super pretty. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with this shade. By the way, I want you guys to know that I did purchase my Morphe palette myself. Not that that changes my reviews at all whatsoever, but I know some people are very, very iffy about palettes that are sent in PR. Sometimes they feel like they're good, sometimes people feel like they're not. They're the same, whatever. I did buy mine at the Morphe store here in Tampa, if that makes any difference to you guys. So I'm actually very curious to see if the shadow applies any differently if I spray it with a little bit of Fix Plus. So I have some of Get Ready With Me on my brush, and I'm gonna focus on putting it like in the very inner part. All right, okay, so I definitely feel like it probably goes on a little bit better damp. Not to say that it goes on bad, but I feel like you place the color and it kind of stays, whereas if you apply it dry, a lot of the glitter kind of just goes. But not in a bad way. If you want to control how much glitter is going everywhere, then probably dampen your brush with a little bit of Fix Plus. Honestly, I tend to wet all of my lid shades anyway, so definitely not a deal breaker. So I think that looks really, really pretty. The next shade I want to go into is this one right here. It's called Empowered. It's kind of like a burgundy, and I kind of want to sandwich it right in between that gold and the burgundy shade I put in my outer V. I'm just going to take it onto my finger and just kind of do this motion. How would it look if I just did like purple underneath? Will that be cute? Would you guys like that? No? Let me know, definitely. But so far, this is really, really pretty. I definitely need to blend it a little bit more, but I feel like adding on like this burgundy shimmer kind of elevates the look. So far I'm loving the way that things are turning out. What I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna clean up the fallout, do my base makeup off camera, then we'll come back and finish off the rest of the look. So BRB. If you guys are interested in any of the products I use, I will have them listed down below in the description. So make sure you guys check that out. With that being said, I do want to finish off my lower lash line, maybe even pop on some falsies. We'll see. I did get a lash lift and it's been very hard for me to do lashes and wing liners. So we'll see how things go, but I do know for sure I want to take this shade right here called Next, and I want to stamp it on my lower lash line and really blow it out so the look is a little bit more sultry, smoky, and sexy, if you get me. So let's actually do that. I'm going to take it on just like a flat definer brush, and again I'm going to start in stamping motion. So I'm just going to kind of stamp it, connect it with the line that I created from the shadow on my upper lash line. And I'm just gonna start stamping, and then I'll even smudge at some points, whatever's easier. Really, you just wanna get this shadow all the way down there on the lower lash line. Ooh, I'm so obsessed with this look, you guys. I feel like it's a lot different than some of the looks I've been seeing using her palette. No tea, no shade. Like, I love a good colorful eye, but I really wanted to create something that had some color to it, but was still wearable. So I'm gonna take an M507 with a little bit of that shade called Next, and I'm gonna start buffing and blowing it out. I'm actually gonna pick up Positivity, and I'm gonna use that to buff and blend it out. This is gonna bring that peachy shade down on the lower lash line and make the look a little bit more cohesive. I'm gonna take a little bit more of the shade called Next, and I'm gonna focus this closest to my lash line, and I'm even gonna pick up the shade called Crazy, which was that really deep burgundy shade. I'm only gonna stamp this in the very outer V on my lower lash line though, just because I don't wanna completely close off the eye, so I'm just going to pick up a little bit, and again, I'm just gonna kind of stop right here. And what this is gonna do, it's really gonna create more of like a cat eye towards the outer V. And it's just gonna connect the shadow that's on the upper lid, which I like. So I think the last and final thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up the shade called No Joke, which is that yellow from within the palette. And I'm taking it more on like a pointed brush just because I do want to stick this right here in like the very inner corner, just to kind of bring out that gold on the lid. I'm just gonna stick it right here, and I'm just gonna lightly feather it in the very inner corner. I want this to be very, very subtle and soft, nothing crazy. I'm actually loving the way that this look is turning out a lot more than I thought I would, which is very surprising. And I'm not really having any issues with the shadows, like blending. Like, I feel like this palette was definitely a hit for me. Just saying, no complaints. Let's finish off with lashes. I have this style right here by Lily Lashes. These are in the style Ella. These are so pretty. I love how they kind of flare out towards the ends. And the adhesive I'm gonna use is just the brush on adhesive in dark. So I did zoom you out just because I feel like things look a lot different from afar than they do like super up close and personal. But this right here is the final and completed look. What do you think? Let me know down below. I also want to note that I did my lips off camera. I am wearing an LA Girl lip liner, which you guys know are my favorites. This one is in the shade Sugar and Spice. And then I topped it off with this NYX lippy right here. This is the NYX Lingerie Push Up Long Lasting Lipstick in the shade Push Up. It kind of has like a minty feeling to it, so I kind of feel like it has like plumping properties. Like really, really into it. I feel like it's a vibe. It complements the look very, very nicely, but you guys are gonna have to let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I do want to quickly touch on the Volume 2 palette. I really have no complaints. I feel like it was very creamy and buttery to touch. It was also very pigmented, buildable, and blendable. So I don't really have any issues with the palette whatsoever. I really love that they put the shade names on the very bottom, so that way I know which shade I'm using. I know in the original Jaclyn Hill palette, the shade names are on the back, so I really like that they put the shade names directly underneath the shadows. I do have to kind of experiment with it a little bit more. I did use some deeper shades, and I will definitely attest that they were not patchy whatsoever. I know it's kind of cliche to say, but sometimes I feel like her launches are like a box of chocolates. You never really know what you're gonna get. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it like mediocre? Is it in the middle? Like, you never really know, but I will say I really enjoyed Volume 2. I can't wait to play around with it a little bit more because I want to do like a purple look. I want to play with the pinks. I even want to do like a basic bronze look. So I will definitely continue using this in future videos and let you guys know my updated thoughts. But my first impressions is that it is very, very good, and I had no issues with it. Again, in the beginning of the video, I said I picked up one for me and one for you. When you go into the Morphe store, I want to say you buy a Jaclyn palette and you get a makeup bag for free. So I'm going to be giving this away to you guys. All you have to do is like the video and drop me a comment down below letting me know what is your favorite eyeshadow palette of all time. It doesn't have to be a Jaclyn palette. It doesn't have to be a Morphe palette. It can be your favorite palette. Just drop me a comment down below. And that is pretty much it, you guys. I hope you really enjoyed today's video. And until next time, I'll be sure to catch you guys all on the next one. Deuces.